Welcome, everyone. I'm Mike.
I'm Ruben.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Michelle, and we're the hosts of the 4 True Crime Idiots podcast. Welcome back to part 2. So before we were talking about the discovery of the suitcase, and now we're going to get into the inquest.
An inquest into the man's death conducted by coroner Thomas Erskine Cleland commenced a few days following the discovery of the body, but was adjourned until June 17, 1949. Cleland, as investigating pathologist, re-examined the body and made a number of discoveries. He noted that the man's shoes were remarkably clean and appear to have been recently polished, rather than in the condition expected of a man who had apparently been wandering around Glen Elge all day. He added that this evidence fitted in with the theory that the body may have been brought to the Somerton Park beach after the man's death, accounting for the lack of evidence of vomiting and convulsions, which are the two main physiological reactions to poison.
Okay, so they think she was moved here.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
It's just
Yes.
the shoes were clean.
Yeah.
It was
And
clean.
And he would be walking on sand. Yeah.
Yeah, you would have evidence of sand and stuff in your
Oh,
shoes.
yeah. Because sand is hard to shake off.
Yeah.
They couldn't find any kind of evidence that he was poisoned because he didn't have any vomit in his system.
Or his mouth, I guess.
Well, I guess you can't tell if you vomited through when they're searching inside your stomach, but yeah.
Maybe the acid.
Acid.
Maybe
Oh,
the acid.
yeah, the acid. I wonder if they use like like some kind of needle thing, like a little like dirt. You know what I'm
Yeah.
trying to get at? But no, but it would have been in his system
Yeah.
too.
That's loose.
Unless it's some kind of poison that evaporates after it's already done its course,
Which maybe.
right? Is there such a poison?
I have no idea.
Probably.
Right?
Yeah, maybe.
Cleland speculated that as none of the witnesses could positively identify the man they saw the previous night as the same person discovered the next morning, there remained the possibility that the man died elsewhere and had been dumped.
So I thought they, what's it called? Saw him the previous night. No?
Mm.
All
But I
of
think
them
there
in
was
the
like
morning.
in the morning. But
They
I
couldn't
think there was,
positively identify him
yeah.
as the same guy.
Yeah.
They just didn't know.
Yeah.
He stressed that this was purely speculation, as all the witnesses believed it was definitely the same person, as the body was in the same place and lying in the same distinct position. He also found no evidence indicating the identity of the deceased.
They're sure it was him though, right? There's no proof.
Yeah. They don't have any proof because none of the witnesses can actually say that that was him.
Like, positively identified.
Yeah, because did they see him early in the morning, right? Like at 2 and 4 o'clock in the morning or something like that.
Yeah.
So they couldn't but didn't they say that there was a guy that was looking over him?
Yeah. That he was standing over him.
But like no one went over and talked with the guy, right?
No.
I'm wondering if they can't find that guy.
Or they try to look for him.
Yeah. Because then he's the only one who could identify him.
Or seeing the way he was.
Yeah, since he's the one that actually looked at him.
Yeah.
So, but they haven't mentioned that, right? About looking for that one guy?
No.
I think we have a killer.
Maybe.
Because he went into hiding.
True.
And no one could find him.
Yep. Well, he split.
But it's hard to find him now.
Did anyone identify him though?
I don't think so.
Right? Instead like, oh, the man that was staring at him was this tall, he was wearing this.
No.
Nothing like that.
They should have stopped him right there and then.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
Once
Like,
he left, it was impossible.
yeah. And the thing is, I was surprised no one went up to him and say like, well, hey, what's going on? Do you know him?
Yeah. What's he doing?
What's he doing? Like, is he okay?
Yeah.
If they were just standing looking at him, looking at that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Cedric Stanton Hicks, professor of physiology and pharmacology at the University of Adelaide, testified that a group of drugs, variants of a drug in that group he called number 1, and in particular number 2, were extremely toxic in a relatively small oral dose that would be extremely difficult, if not impossible, to identify, even if it had been suspected in the first instance. He gave Cleland a piece of paper with the names of the 2 drugs, which was entered as Exhibit C18.
So he was saying there is a drug that can evaporate? Evaporate, but you see.
Undetectable. In extremely small doses.
Wow. So he said it could be poison.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's one possibility that maybe
It was a poison.
it was a poison, but because
It's a type of, I guess.
well, if he had
Poison
coffee,
thing.
right? They had said that he went to go have coffee with somebody. It was probably tasteless too, so just like a little drop.
Yeah.
Well, did he have coffee at a restaurant, or when he went to go meet somebody for coffee? Remember, he was going to go meet someone to go have coffee with.
Yeah.
I think, but I don't know if it was like at a restaurant or at their house.
Are we sure he was going to do coffee?
I could have sworn that they had said something in there and was going to go meet somebody, or he was going not so much that they're going to go drink coffee, but that he was going to go meet someone.
Yeah.
I'm just assuming that maybe they're going to go meet for coffee.
Somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, back then, the coffee was very.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The names were not released to the public until the 1980s, as at the time they were quite easily procurable by ordinary individual from a chemist without the need to give a reason for the purchase. The drugs were later publicly identified as digitalis and oibane, both cardiolide-type cardiac glycosides. Professor Hicks noted the only fact not found in relation to the body was evidence of vomiting. He then stated its absence was not unknown, but that he could not make a frank conclusion without it.
So now I'm confused again. Now he doesn't know because there was no vomit.
He can't make a
Yeah.
precise conclusion. He can't say yes, definitely.
Oh,
Oh,
So-
I see.
nothing.
So he couldn't say like
First,
yes,
yeah.
he was poisoned because there was no evidence of it.
Yeah.
Hicks stated that if death had occurred 7 hours after the man was last seen to move, it would imply a massive dose that could still have been undetectable. It was noted that the movement seen by witnesses at 7 p.m. could have been the last convulsion preceding death.
Oh, that's when he raised his arm up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Early in the inquiry, Cleland stated, "I would be prepared to find that he died from poison, that the poison was probably a glucoside, and that it was not accidentally administered, but I cannot say whether it was administered by the deceased himself or by some other person." Despite these findings, he could not determine the cause of death for the unidentified man. Cleland remarked that if the body had been carried to its final resting place, then all the difficulties would disappear.
So what? Okay, because they found him. They found him on the beach.
Yeah. I guess like stolen things.
I don't know.
This weird risk.
Yeah, because they were saying right when we started that all his clothes were clean and his shoes.
And shoes.
His shoes were clean.
Especially
Yeah.
But would they be marked and dirty or
the bottoms.
bottoms? Right?
Sand.
Yeah.
Sand. That's true.
His pants.
Yeah.
After the inquest, a plaster cast was made of the man's head and shoulders. The lack of success in determining the identity and cause of death of the man had led authorities to call it an unparalleled mystery, and believe that the cause of death might never be known.
I wonder if that's because no one wanted to come forward of fear of what might happen to them. You had to have known somebody,
Yeah.
you know?
Unless he was like a loner.
That's true.
Spy.
Unless the thing didn't really look like him, though, because you know how sometimes,
Yeah.
you know what I'm trying to get at?
Because when they got the sample, what's it called? The plaster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite true.
Yeah.
Well, if he wasn't from there and he was just meeting someone, then no one would know who he is.
It's true.
This
That's
is a
true.
very interesting case.
Weird.
Very weird.
Unparalleled.
It's a unparalleled mystery.
Unsolved mystery.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about the connection to Rubaiyats of Omar Khayyam.
Around the same time as the inquest, a tiny piece of rolled up paper with the words "Tamam Shud" printed on it was found in a fob pocket sewn within the dead man's trouser pocket. Public library officials called in to translate the text identified it as a phrase meaning "ended" or "finished," found on the last page of Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. What's that?
It's like a book of poems.
The paper's verso side was blank. Police conducted an Australia-wide search to find a copy of the book that had a similarly blank verso. A photograph of the scrap of paper was released to the press. Following a public appeal by police, the copy of Rubaiyat from which the page had been torn was located.
Also, they found the book,
Yeah.
the original book, the original copy,
But just a copy,
or
I
just
think.
the book.
I think just a copy of the book. Oh, well, I don't know. It says, following a public appeal by police, a copy of Rubaiyat from which the page had been torn was located.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, so they found the book that
The book
he...
that where they tore it.
where-
Oh,
yeah,
Wow.
Strange. How could they do that?
That is.
all right.
And what's a versal?
I guess the reverse side, maybe.
Reversal?
That's a
Maybe.
good. I don't know. That's a good
Well,
question.
you read a verse. What's a versal?
Let me Google it.
You shouldn't have to Google it.
Because yeah, but I don't know what a verso is. Hold on. What is a verso? It's a left-hand page of an open book or the back of a loose document.
Oh.
The reverse of something such as a coin or painting.
Oh.
So I guess.
So it's the left side of the book, right?
Yeah.
Or the back of a.
Yeah, like when you just open a book, and it has all of those pages before you can actually get to the.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think it's that. I think that's what they're talking about. Because you open a book and then it's like a blank page.
Yeah.
And
And it's yeah.
And then there's the title and then everything else.
A man showed police a 1941 edition of Edward Fitzgerald's 1859 translation of Rubaiyat, published by Whitcomb and Toombs in Christchurch, New Zealand. Detective Sergeant Lionel Lee, who led the initial investigation, often protected the privacy of witnesses in public statements by using pseudonyms. Lee referred to the man who found the book by the pseudonym Ronald Francis, and he has never been officially identified.
Interesting. Ruben.
I know.
Yeah.
So what about that? I don't understand it.
So the detective who was in charge of all that,
Yeah.
he has the thing about protecting the privacy of the witnesses in public statements by using fake names, right?
Yeah.
So the guy who found the book that they were looking for, he referred to him as Ronald Francis, but he was never really identified.
Oh.
Francis had not considered that the book might be connected to the case until he had seen an article in the previous day's newspaper. There is some uncertainty about the circumstances under which the book was found. One newspaper article refers to the book as being found about a week or two before the body was found. Former South Australian police detective Jerry Feltus, who dealt with the matter as a cold case, reports that the book was found just after that man was found on the beach at Somerton. The timing is significant as the man is presumed based on the suitcase to have arrived in Adelaide the day before he was found on the beach.
So now they're saying that this guy could have been involved somehow because of how they found the book so quickly. Because if you really think about it, it is, right?
It's a weird case.
Because if you really think about it, how are you going to find that one book?
This is above my pay grade.
How do you find the book before you find out he died?
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't make sense.
So they found the book. Someone said they found it a week or two before the body was found.
Yeah.
Well, how can they find the book if what?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it was a conspiracy.
Okay, so
Weird.
that guy. So they're saying that guy
Strange.
Ronald Francis found the book 1 to 2 weeks before the body was found.
Yeah. So how were they looking for it before the body was found?
No, I think weren't they looking for it after the body was found?
Yeah.
But I think the guy came across it before the body was found.
Oh.
I think that's what they're trying to say.
Oh,
but whoever was talking about it, this guy, that Jerry Feltus dude, he's the one who feels like that it was kind of like suspicious because
The way they found it.
the way they found it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of true because it's like, how are you going to find that exact book?
Right.
You would think it would take longer than
Yeah,
a couple of weeks.
Yeah, to find it.
That one where it was torn.
That
Yeah.
it was tear from.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to know? Like, oh yeah, I have that book.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of books everywhere.
Mhm. And they found the exact one.
Yeah, unless back in the day, there's so many books that are published. You know what I'm trying to get at?
Yeah.
Not like the way it is today, where
Most accounts state that the book was found in an unlocked car parked in Jetty Road, Glenelg, either in the rear floor well or on the back seat.
Well, how do they know?
Yeah.
This is weird.
The theme of Rubaiyat is that one should live life to the fullest and have no regrets when it ends. The poem subject led police to theorize that the man had committed suicide by poison, although no other evidence corroborated the theory.
okay, so he might have committed suicide, and the book was found in an unlocked car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the guy who had it just so happened to go and see a book in a car and took it.
That doesn't make any sense.
And then now this guy might have committed suicide, but then that means he knew something, and he was taking it to the grave. Wow, it keeps getting weirder and weirder.
But like, there's other ways of suicide.
It doesn't sound like a suicide to me.
I mean, why are you
Or
gonna?
you go poison yourself, and
I know.
that must have been a horrible death.
It had to be.
There's quicker ways to end it.
Yeah.
The book was missing the words to Mom Should, on the last page, which had a blank reverse, and the microscopic test indicated that the piece of paper was from the page torn from the book. In the back of the book were faint indentions representing 5 lines of text in capital letters. The second line has been struck out, a fact considered significant due to the similarities to the fourth line and the possibility that it represents an error in encryption.
Do you think with this, it was like one of those little encryptions where you have to kind of like cross out certain words and letters to make a word?
Maybe. And it looks
Like code?
a code of some type. I'll put it on the socials so you all can see it too. So it looks like a bunch of encrypted words, right?
Yeah.
The first one, I don't know. It looks like I don't know what. It looks like a bat. You see it? The
Yeah.
first letter?
Yeah. Bat? Which one?
It looks like a bat. The first letter. Am I only
Yeah.
saying the bat?
Kind of
Where?
does.
The first letter.
Oh, yes.
It looks like a bat.
They're
But-
trying to figure out if that's
It's
a.
an M or a W.
Yeah.
I think it's a W based on the other M's.
Right?
Okay, y'all. If y'all want to get a pencil and pen, we're going to describe what we see on the note.
Please do.
Follow along. The first line is going to look, it looks like a W, but it also looks like an M. We think it's WRGOABABD. Okay, there's going to be another line, but it's crossed out. Okay, so it's MLIAOI. Remember, that one, the second line is crossed out. The third line is looks like a W. TBIMDANETT. And then there's like a letter X that's kind of like along the line crossed out on it. That's the third line. No, fourth line. That's the fourth line. The fifth line is MLIAPOAIAQC. Now the last line looks like ITTMTSAMSTGAB. That's what we see. I don't know. Yeah, like I said, the M looks like a W.
On the first
Or,
one.
yeah, it could be like M or a W.
And let's see, he was starting to write M and then remember that it was a W. So he went that way.
Maybe. But like I said, I'll post them on our social medias.
In the book, it is unclear whether the first line begins with an M or W, but it is widely believed to be the letter W, owing to the distinctive difference when compared to the stricken letter M. There appears to be a deleted or underlined line of text that reads, capitalized, MLIAOI.
But look, maybe people are supposed to unscramble the words. You know what I'm trying to get at?
Oh, yeah. Maybe
Maybe he's trying to put down the drug that got him.
should I just write it down?
Maybe he didn't. Oh, that's true. Maybe to make people work harder.
Although the last character in this line of text looks like an L, it is fairly clear on closer inspection of the image that this is formed from an I, and the extension of the line used to delete or underline that line of text. Also, the other L has a curve to the bottom part of the character.
I remember the X that we talked about. It's above the letter O in the code. So we don't know if it's like significant or if not.
Because it's crossed out.
Yeah.
And that one to the right, the second line, the second letters on the
Yeah, the second line.
on the second line, that
Yeah.
one's crossed out too. So
In
no
fact, it looks like it's like you said, it looks like it's like he messed up
yeah,
and he fixed it on the fourth line.
right.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna go into the attempts to decode the message.
Initially, the letters were thought to be words in a foreign language before it was realized it was a code.
They thought it was a foreign language.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But what foreign language?
I know. That's what I was thinking too. It's like that's some.
In fact, the foreign language would have like different letters, wouldn't they?
That would be like,
Wouldn't they?
yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah, the letters would be even in a different language.
in a different language, but
Yeah.
not like this is like some kind of alien.
So it is a code.
Yeah, it
It
has
is
to
some
be
kind
a
of
code.
Yeah.
Maybe. Code experts were called in at the time to decipher the lines, but were unsuccessful, and amateurs also attempted to crack the code. In 1978, following a request from ABC television journalist Stuart Littlemore, the Department of Defense cryptographers analyzed the handwritten text. The cryptographers reported that it would be impossible to provide a satisfactory answer. If the texts were an encrypted message, its brevity meant that it had insufficient symbols from which a clear meaning could be extracted. and the text could be the meaningless product of a disturbed mind.
So
So they're
no one
saying
could decode it.
no one could decode it, but are they saying that even if they did decode it, like no one could really understand
Maybe it was.
what it was or what it meant?
It might have been like he might have been like crazy.
I think they're trying to say like it could have been like gibberish.
Yeah.
Like it was not going to make sense. Like it's going to have nothing to do with the case. It was just in his manic state. He just put whatever. I guess that's what they're trying to say.
I think so.
In 2004, retired detective Gary Filches suggested in a Sunday Mail article that the final line, ITTMTSAMSTGAB, all caps, could stand for the initials, it's time to move to South Australia, Mosley Street.
Okay, but what
Okay.
about the GAB?
Yeah, I was about to say, what's GAB?
Right?
In 2009 to 2011, Derek Abbott's team concluded that it was most likely that each letter was the first letter of a word.
Oh, yeah, okay. I can see that.
How would you even decipher a code like that, though?
Right? It could be anything.
That's crazy.
A 2014 analysis by computational linguist John Reeling strongly supports the theory that the letters consist of the initials of some English text, but finds no match for these in a large survey of literature and concludes that the letters were likely written as a form of shorthand, not as a code, and that the original text can likely never be determined.
So he said it's not a code.
He said that it could be shorthand like he was writing.
What does that mean? Like, there's no messages?
That it's not even a code, that it could be like a message. I think that's what he's trying to say.
Some sort of message. But
Have
not a
y'all
code.
tried shorthand? I remember when they used to have fun classes back in ninth grade, I think.
What kind of classes?
Shorthand?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
You never took I forgot. I think it was a typewriting class that I took.
Oh.
Or I forgot what class it was, but they had to teach you how to do shorthand. So what you do, like say like the word about, you don't fill it out. You just put like ABT, about.
Oh.
To where it sounds like the
Yeah,
word
like
you're looking for.
Kind of like abbreviations?
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's what they're trying to say, that it could have been that instead of like,
Just like the first like letters?
huh?
Just like letters, though?
Yeah, like you cross out a couple of words. So and I think it was so like if you work like receptionist or whatever and
Oh,
you're
yeah,
taking
but,
notes.
Yeah, but him.
He himself probably did that.
This was letters?
Hmm?
What's his short hand?
That I don't know. I keep thinking it's a code for something, but because I don't understand none of this.
Even then, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
That's good.
It has to be code.
Look, like see, like if you were to cross out right here on this one, just let's say like you cross out the first, the third, that could spell Tim. And when you cross out the T and the P, Pain.
That's weird.
You know, Tim Pain,
T-Pain.
T-Pain.
Oh, that's
You knew about T-Pain in years before.
Back in 1948,
It's his great granddad.
that's where he started.
Great granddad.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about a pair of individuals named Jessica Thompson and Al Foxall.
A telephone number was also found in the back of the book, belonging to a nurse named Jessica Ellen Joe Thompson, born Jessie Harkness in the Sydney suburb of Marrickville, New South Wales, who lived in Mosley Street, Glenelg, about 400 meters, which is 1,300 feet north of the location where the body was found. Thompson said that she did not know the dead man or why he would have her phone number and choose to visit her suburb on the night of his death.
Kind of weird.
That is weird.
How did he have a phone number then?
I have no idea.
Someone gave it to him, I guess, maybe?
Or she's lying.
Or she's lying.
Yeah.
Did they ever mention how often he visited that town?
I don't think so.
Right? Maybe she met him somewhere in one of his visits, and
Maybe.
he got her number somehow.
However, she also reported that at some time in the late 1948, an unidentified man had attempted to visit her and asked a next-door neighbor about it.
I wonder if it was him.
It's probably him.
I wonder.
But he just so happened to just walk in the neighborhood and saw her, and
But she wasn't home.
yeah. What if she was to visit her suburb at night on the night of his death? Mean? I thought she meant like she chose to visit her suburb at night. I was like, what's that mean? You're already in your neighborhood. Why are you visiting it?
I wonder if she has something to do with it and she's just lying.
Maybe he came on too
right?
strong, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like maybe he was.
And she was a nurse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he she didn't want his advances, and he just kept doing it.
Maybe she had access to poisons.
Mm-hmm.
Being a nurse.
Yeah.
Do nurses handle poisons?
I have no idea.
That's weird, right?
But she might know how to get some.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but poison. In his book on the case, Jerry Philtis stated that when he interviewed Thompson in 2002, he found that she was either being evasive or she just did not wish to talk about it. Philtis believed Thompson knew the Somerton Man's identity. Thompson's daughter, Kate, in a television interview in 2014 with Channel 9's 60 Minutes, also said that she believed her mother knew the dead man.
You see?
Mm.
So it was Jessica Thompson.
Yeah.
Yeah, because why would you want to be evasive or just not want to talk about it if your name's clear?
See, those are the suspects.
Yeah.
She looks guilty a little bit of something. I'm leaning towards maybe she wanted nothing to do with him and he was just, hounding her. Maybe that night that he died.
Apparently, he just got there, though. It's like, do they know each other?
Well, that's what I'm
Police?
saying. Like, how is it that did he know her neighbor? And that's when he was asking about her. And maybe she was outside at some point and he saw her.
Okay.
But they never really said like what he did for a living, right?
Mm.
No,
I wonder if he was like a salesman of some sort.
maybe.
If he didn't know her neighbor,
Yeah.
insurance maybe.
No, I think he knew the neighbor.
So,
I think he just knocked on the neighbor's door to see where she was. I think that's what I understood.
oh yeah,
Right?
yeah, because it says on number 3 that an unidentified man had attempted to visit her and asked a next door neighbor about her.
Yeah.
So maybe they met one night somewhere, and she just so happened to tell him,
Could be deep.
"Huh?
You could be celebrating deep.
Day, night, or whatever." Well, I'm just saying, like, just to be like,
Yeah.
well, because most people give out their information when they're out at night. Yeah, I live down over here, and here's my number. I don't know. They met somewhere,
Yes.
and they were talking about something to where maybe he was hounding her, and she was just to get him off her back. But here's my number, and
Yeah.
because wasn't it back in the day? That's how you were able to find out someone's address by calling the operator.
I'm old, but not that old.
No, no, because right? Because I think I was
Maybe,
watching
well,
an
maybe.
old school movie where I wonder if you were able to like with the operator, like, can you tell me the address to so and so's house?
Yeah, possibly.
Right?
Yeah.
Because maybe like he was calling and she wasn't answering, and he was like, "Well, you know what? I'm gonna go see what's up." Because I mean, there's some guys that are crazy like that.
Yeah.
In 1949, Jessica Thompson requested that police not keep a permanent record of her name or release her details to third parties, as it would be embarrassing and harmful to her reputation to be linked to such a case.
Well, maybe you should be truthful.
Right?
So she didn't want him to release her details?
Yeah, because it would hurt her reputation being a nurse.
Making reference to that?
Yeah.
Hmm.
The police agreed, a decision that hampered later investigations.
Why did they agree?
I don't
Why
know.
don't we just, like,
Well, if
Not
that
so
guy
fast,
Jerry, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe because they couldn't really find anything on her.
In news media, books, and other discussions of the case, Thompson was frequently referred to by various pseudonyms, including the nickname Justine, a name such as Teresa Johnson Powell. Philtis in 2010 claimed he was given permission by Thompson's family to disclose her names and that of her husband, Roscoe Thompson. Nevertheless, the names Philtis used in his book were pseudonyms. Philtis also stated that her family did not know her connection with the case. He agreed not to disclose her identity or anything that might reveal it. Thompson's real name was considered important because it may be the decryption key for a purported code.
wow.
So is that way that her name was taken off because Philtis
So she asked him.
she asked and he did it because
Yeah.
he says that he had a soft spot for the witnesses, right? So I'm wondering if
I think it is him.
it is him, right? So I'm wondering if he just talked to, the people there at the police station and convinced them, because he was already retired by then, right? Or was he still working the
2010?
case?
I'm not sure. But it's
When he
just-
started writing the book?
2010,
yeah.
it's a weird case.
Yeah. I just don't understand why he was using different things for the girl's name.
She doesn't
Yeah.
want to be identified.
But why? That's the question.
Because she doesn't want her reputation ruined.
But how would that ruin a reputation as a nurse? She's just a nurse.
Because they probably gonna, like the way we did, think that she had access to all of the drugs to give to him, I guess.
Maybe.
And maybe if she wanted to
That's true.
go over to another hospital, they're gonna be like, well, you're connected to this man,
Yeah.
and you have,
When she was shown the plaster cast bust of the dead man by D.S. Lean, Thompson said she could not identify the person depicted. According to Lean, he described her reaction upon seeing the cast as completely taken aback, to the point of giving the appearance that she was about to faint. In an interview many years later, Paul Lawson, the technician who made the cast and was present when Thompson viewed it, noted that after looking at the bust, she immediately looked away and would not look at it again.
So maybe she did know.
She knows.
She knows something. I
Yeah.
think she knows something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she was. Maybe her husband. Why did she get married to her husband? They never said, right?
No, but she was married.
You don't have those kind of reactions for nothing, though.
Yeah, I know. It's just-
So she knows him.
She knows something.
She knows what's going on.
Thompson also said that while she was working at Royal North Shore Hospital in Sydney during World War II, she had owned a copy of Rubaiyat.
Oh, see? There's another connection.
Ah.
In 1945, at the Clifton Gardens Hotel in Sydney, she had given it to an Australian Army lieutenant named Alf Boxall, who was serving at the time in the water transport section of the Royal Australian Engineers.
So she's saying she gave that book to him?
Yeah.
Oh,
What was she doing at the Clifton Gardens Hotel in Sydney?
I don't know. She's up to something.
Yep.
Thompson told police that after the war ended, she had moved to Melbourne and married. She said that she had received a letter from Boxall and had replied, telling him that she was now married. Subsequent research suggests that her future husband, Prosper Thompson, who was in the process of obtaining a divorce from his first wife in 1949, and he did not marry Jessica until mid-1950.
So she was single when all this was going on.
With the Australian guy?
Yeah.
With who?
Well, just in
With
general.
Alf Boxall?
Well, no, she
Alf
just in general.
Alf Boxall.
Well, not only with him, but like when the Somerton Man started coming around.
Oh.
Like she was single then too.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Right?
So, yeah.
When did he die?
Oh, what year was it?
1948
She didn't get married to just her husband.
to 1950.
50.
But she knew that guy,
So
Alf,
maybe she was just getting rid of Alf Boxall.
but she knew him way before
Her
the
husband. Yeah.
and the Somerton Man,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently. Yeah, so I wonder if Alf and her were like
Dating?
dating.
Maybe.
But she didn't want to be with him anymore. Or
Could
they had a thing going on, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe like here and there.
Yeah. It's true. Because he was in the
That's what she told him, that she was married.
yeah. And he came around again.
There is no evidence that Boxall had any contact with Jessica Thompson after 1945. As a result of their conversations with Thompson, police suspected that Boxall was the dead man. However, in July 1949, Boxall was found in Sydney, and the final page of his copy of the Rubaiyat, purportedly a 1924 edition published in Sydney, was intact, with the words Taman Shud still in place.
So it wasn't his.
So it's not him.
Still wasn't him.
No. His book must have been published in Australia.
I know.
Boxall was now working in the maintenance section at the Radnwick bus depot, where he had worked before the war, and was unaware of any link between the dead man and himself.
At that time, he didn't know he was like a suspect or anything.
Yeah. No.
Not suspect, but like, yeah, I guess he gets a suspect.
Jessica Harkness had signed herself capital J-E, lowercase S-T-Y-N. I read out verse 70.
So she signed it already with her.
Like her suing them.
Yeah. But didn't they talk to her after the fact?
But what's that? What did she cross out? Verse 70?
She written out verse 70.
Oh, she really. What does that mean? Oh, that's what she wrote? That's what she wrote down?
That's what she wrote.
This is what she wrote down. Indeed, repentance oft before I swore, but was I sober when I swore. And then came spring, and rose in hand. My threadbare pittance a pieces tore.
That's a weird.
I don't know.
I never liked poems.
Me neither, man.
I never understood poetry.
Yeah,
I used to hate doing that in English when you had to kind
right one.
of not so much write one, but kind of figure out what the meaning of one is.
Yeah, it was so stupid. Sorry to all the English people there.
They're like poems. We don't. They're doomed. When did she write that though? When she gave him the copy, or was it after she found him?
When she signed the book,
Yeah, when she signed it.
But
That was her favorite verse or something.
probably.
probably. So now we're going to get into how the media reacted.
The two daily Adelaide newspapers, the Advertiser and the News, covered the death in separate ways. The Advertiser first mentioned the case in a small article on page 3 of its morning edition of December 2nd, 1948, titled Body Found on Beach. It read, a body believed to be of E.C. Johnson, about 45, of Arthur St. Paynham, was found on Somerton Beach opposite the crippled children's home yesterday morning. The discovery was made by Mr. J. Lyons, of White Road, Somerton Detective H. Strangeway, and Constable J. Moss were inquiring. The News featured their story on its first page, giving more details of the dead man. As one journalist wrote in June 1949, alluding to the line in Rubaiyat, the Somerton Man seems to have made certain that the glass would be empty, save for speculation.
How did that one newspaper know his name?
I know. Unless someone was saying that guy was missing
They just ran with it.
and just ran with
They
it.
didn't fact check or
No, nothing.
anything.
They just went like,
Trying to be the first one to publish, I guess.
yeah,
And then they put it on page 3.
yeah.
So they weren't that
They weren't that confident.
interesting. Yes, I don't know.
Well, they said believed to be, so maybe they were just speculating because that guy was missing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you don't say that
Well, yeah.
unless you know what I mean.
Well, that's why you say believed to be, allegedly.
Not even that. You just don't say it.
But yeah, that's true.
But back then was weird, I guess.
Yeah.
It's different.
They didn't care.
An editorial called the case of one of Australia's most profound mysteries and noted that if he died by poison so rare and obscure it could not be identified by toxicology experts, then surely the culprit's advanced knowledge of toxic substances pointed to something more serious than mere domestic poison.
Yeah.
So they're trying to say like a professional did it,
Could have been, yeah.
or someone knew what they were doing.
It
Yeah.
wasn't like a little school, right?
Yeah. Hey, do you think that Jessica's husband knows some details of it?
If they were already married, possibly.
Right?
He must have known after that.
Well, now maybe, but like
Yeah,
but like when they had just gotten married, maybe.
that's true. I wonder if he's told about
I'm gonna tell you a deep, dark secret, babe. I'm a murderer.
murder spies.
Maybe she was a spy.
Maybe.
Hmm.
And then there's early reported identifications. A number of possible identifications have been proposed over the years. On December 3rd, 1948, a day after the Advertiser named him as a likely victim, E.C. Johnson identified himself at a police station.
There you go. That was careless of them.
I know. I
Yeah.
wonder why they came up with that though.
That's stupid.
I guess they put a picture of him on the newspaper and someone will know.
But you gotta get your facts
I know.
before you publish.
Yeah.
That same day, the News published a photograph of the dead man on its front page, leading to additional calls from members of the public about his possible identity. By December 4th, police had announced that the man's fingerprints were not on South Australian police records, forcing them to look farther afield. On December 5th, the Advertiser reported that police were searching through military records after a man claimed to have had a drink with a person resembling the dead man at a hotel in Glenelg on November 13th. During their drinking session, the mystery man supposedly produced a military pension card bearing the name Salamonson.
That's weird. I wonder if maybe he was military. I'm going with maybe he was like some kind of salesman.
Maybe. Because a lot of men were salesmen like that.
Back in there, yeah.
But I wouldn't trust the Advertiser newspaper.
I know. After they
After
were
that,
claiming
yeah.
someone else that wasn't even he was alive. Can
Yeah.
you imagine?
Mhm.
What? The guy?
What?
What? They're saying I'm dead?
Right in the family?
Are you
That
right?
guy's family?
Brian had been making phone calls, searching high and low for him.
Yeah.
Maybe he was like one of those loners that just like to like every now and then.
True.
He showed somebody identification, but this guy didn't have identification, so I don't think that's him.
Maybe. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, unless they took it.
Unless they took it.
Yeah.
So they won't know. So they won't figure out who he was. Yeah.
In early January 1949, two people identified the body as that of 63-year-old former woodcutter Robert Walsh. A third person, James Mack, also viewed the body. Initially could not identify it, but an hour later he contacted police to claim it was Robert Walsh. Mack stated that the reason he did not confirm this at the viewing was a difference in the color of the hair. Walsh had left Adelaide several months earlier to buy sheep in Queensland, but had failed to return at Christmas as planned. Police were skeptical, believing Walsh should be too old to be the dead man.
Mm. So everyone out of the woodwork was just coming out claiming it to be somebody.
Mm-hmm. That's the trouble you get when you go to the media
Yeah.
for a lead. You get a bunch of crazy, I guess.
Yeah.
Not crazy, but like stories.
Yeah.
However, the police did state that the body was consistent with that of a man who had been a woodcutter, although the state of the man's hands indicated that he did not cut wood for at least 18 months.
So maybe he retired from it? Maybe when he was
Yeah,
younger?
how would you know?
How do you know?
How would you know you're a woodcutter?
I have no idea.
Mike, your hands look like woodcutters.
Maybe your hands would be more rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess getting the wood.
Yeah, that's true.
Any thoughts that a positive identification had been made was quashed. However, when Elizabeth Thompson, one of the people who had earlier positively identified the body as Wash, retracted her statement after a second viewing of the body, for the absence of a particular scar on the body, as well as the size of the dead man's legs, led her to realize the body was not Wash. By early February 1949, there had been 8 different positive identifications of the body, including 2 Darwin men who thought the body was of a friend of theirs, and others who thought it was a missing station worker, a worker on a steamship, or a Swedish man. Detectives from Victoria initially believed the man was from there because of the similarity of the laundry marks to those used by several dry cleaning firms in Melbourne. Following publication of the man's photograph in Victoria, 28 people claimed to know his identity. Victoria detectives disproved all the claims and said that other investigations indicated it was unlikely that he was from Victoria.
Wow.
I know.
No one knew. It was like that was him. So no, that wasn't him.
There was a lot of that.
Yeah.
A seaman named Tommy Reed from the SS Cycle in port at the time was thought to be the dead man, but after some of his shipmates viewed the body at the morgue, they stated categorically that the corpse was not that of Reed. By November 1953, police announced they had recently received the 251st solution to the identity of the body from members of the public who claimed to have met or known him, but they said the only clue of any value remained the clothing the man wore.
It's none of these.
Nope.
Who he really was.
That's it for part 2 of our Somerton Man series. Hope you all enjoyed this episode of the 4 True Crime Idiots podcast. Please rate us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, wherever you listen to our podcast. And please follow us, the 4 True Crime Idiots podcast, on all of our social media platforms. All of the links will be in the description. Until the next episode,
Stay safe.
Stay vigilant.
Beware of your surroundings.
Bye.
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 bye.